Welcome to the United Vision Logistics VR Training Lab. When you are ready to begin, point your controller at the start button and pull the trigger to begin the session.
Professional drivers know that each trip they make can have a variety of different problems. Each assignment brings with it certain unknowns, such as unexpected road construction or traffic delays, or lousy weather, or a
Welcome to the training yard. Before we can load any cargo, we need to ensure the vehicle is in good, proper working order and that all of the equipment is working properly. This is important for your personal safety, the safety of others, the safety of your unit, and the safety of the cargo. To get started with the pre-trip inspection and maintenance, press the clipboard button on your controller to begin the pre-trip inspection. Great. This checklist will guide you throughout the experience. To start our inspection, we need to move closer to the front of the vehicle. Hold down the teleport button on your controller, aim it to where you would like to go, and as soon as you release the button, you'll be automatically moved to the new location. Use this teleport button to move closer to the front of the vehicle. Let's open the hood and check on the engine. You can use your remote to interact with this environment. When you are near something and it is highlighted in green, it means you can interact with it. Reach out to the hood, and when it turns yellow, you can use the trigger button to open it. Begin by looking under the hood for any leaks, oil spills, or problems. An icon of an eye will appear when there is something that needs your attention. Once we have confirmed there are no leaks, check the engine oil, coolant level, power steering fluid, washer fluid, and anything else that requires checking. Excellent. We now know that the engine appears to be in good working order. Close the hood, move over to the driver's side door, and let's open it up. The first thing we want to check in here is that the fire extinguisher is charged, in good working order, and accessible from the driver's seat. Then, we will need to check that we have the appropriate personal protective equipment. PPE in this unit is behind the driver's seat and includes a hard hat, safety glasses, fire retardant vest, visibility vest, steel-toed boots, sturdy work gloves, and earplugs, all to be worn as needed. Now that we are ready to start the vehicle, use the trigger button again to enter the driver's seat. Start the engine by touching the key and using the trigger button. Listen to the engine for any unusual sounds, stuttering, or any signs of problems. Review the gauges to make sure everything is in good working order. Check that both mirrors are properly aligned, that the seatbelt is in good working order, and that the harness is properly aligned. Everything sounds great. Let's go ahead and turn the engine off. Let's jump out of the cab and inspect the rest of the vehicle. Next, let's check if there are enough tie downs and chains and that everything is in good working order. Check any tarps or coverings if they are requested by the client or if weather is a concern. Let's check the unit for obvious damage. Walk around the vehicle and check the suspension. Look for cracks, signs of oil, or other damage. Check that the trailer is in good condition with no holes or damage, and that the brakes are in good order and properly adjusted. Check that the header board is in good condition. Each of these items is a safety critical item that needs to be carefully inspected in order to ensure your safety and the safety of others on the road. Finally, let's check the wheels for any cracks, signs of damage, signs of wear, or any uneven wear that might be on them. Great job! The vehicle's fine. Now let's go inspect the cargo. There are several things you need to know about cargo before you begin to load it onto the truck. Open the clipboard to continue. We need to teleport closer to the cargo. When preparing cargo, check with the customer if it requires special covering to protect it from the elements. In many states, spill protection covering is required for sand, gravel, and small stones. Know the requirement of the state you will be traveling through. Covered cargo needs to be tightly wrapped. Cargo is secured when it will not move. Different types of cargo require different methods for securement. Let's return to the vehicle and begin loading the cargo onto the vehicle. We are now ready to accept the load and begin securing the cargo onto the vehicle. Open the clipboard to begin. Start by moving closer to the vehicle. Teleport onto the back of the trailer. Check that the load is distributed evenly. Check that objects will not move individually or as a unit. Load the cargo from front to back and side to side. Apply a covering if it is required by law for the state you are traveling through, or if requested by the client. Ensure the load does not obstruct your view. When working with lumber, it should be loaded side to side and it should be touching. If loading more than one level, add block stakes on the sides or friction mats between levels. Chains are commonly used and limited by the size of the chain, the grade of the chain, and the FMCSA regulations. Chains typically allow for a higher working load limit than a nylon tie-down. Ropes and bungee cords should never be used. When working with over 10,000 pounds of cargo or any heavy equipment, shovels must be lowered and secured. You need a minimum of 4 direct tie-downs to the front and rear of the vehicle and 4 tightening devices. Each of these devices requires a minimum working load limit of 5,000 pounds. Vehicles must be tied down on all 4 corners. There are 2 main types of load securement, direct and indirect. Direct load securement is the anchoring of the cargo to only one side of the vehicle. Indirect load securement is when a tie-down goes from one side of the vehicle over or through the cargo and to an anchor point on the other side. The working load limit is the maximum amount of weight that a tie-down can hold. The aggregate or total working load limit must be at least 100% of the weight of the object. For example, unmarked nylon is typically 1,000 pounds per inch of width. To tie down 6,000 pounds of cargo, we will need to apply at least a minimum of 6 tie downs. Tie-down count also depends on the length of the item being secured. An 8-foot object requires at least 2 tie-downs, and an additional 8 feet requires an additional 1 tie-down after the first 10 feet. For example, a 23-foot run of pipe needs at least 4 tie-downs, 1 each at the front and back of the load around the 2-foot mark, and 2 more every 8 feet between. We are now ready to begin our journey. Move to the driver's side door and open it up. Select the seat to sit in the cab. Start the engine. Great job. The vehicle's fine. Now let's go inspect the cargo. Vibration can cause the cargo to shift and move. We need to check on the cargo within the first 50 miles. Open the clipboard to begin. In order to inspect the load, you will need to move closer to the vehicle. Inspect the cargo for any items that may have shifted, loose tarps, or loose covers. Check the tie-downs and straps for any issues. Remember to check the cargo within the first 50 miles, and then continue to check the cargo every 3 hours or 150 miles, whichever comes first. Now, let's continue on to the client site. We've now arrived at the drop-off location. This is where we would wear our PPE and check in and seek approval for our GSA. You want to check any specific unloading instructions, obtain any waste material you need to prevent damage during unloading, and follow proper unloading and stacking protocols. This completes the demonstration. When you're ready to return to the menu, just look at your cargo. Welcome to the United Vision Logistics VR Training Lab. When you are ready to begin, point your controller at the start button and pull the trigger to begin the session. We've now arrived at the drop-off location. This is where we would wear our PPE and check in and seek approval for our GSA. You want to check any specific unloading instructions, obtain any waste material you need to prevent damage during unloading, and follow proper unloading and stacking protocols. This completes the demonstration. When you're ready to return to the menu, just look at your cargo.